Hello again, dear one. Are you cozy and ready for tonight's story? So far, we've heard how baby Krishna was born in secret and saved from the cruel King Kansa. We've followed him as he grew up in the lovely village of Gokul, stealing butter, dancing with the cows, and defeating demons with a smile. But now, Krishna is no longer a little boy. He's strong, wise, and ready to face the purpose he was born for. Tonight he begins a new journey to the city of Mathura, where danger waits, but destiny calls. The king who tried to destroy him as a baby has no idea what's coming. Let's listen closely now and follow Krishna as he walks into the lion's den. The sun had just begun to set over the quiet village of Gokul, casting a golden glow over the fields and homes. Birds flew across the sky, and cows slowly returned home. Everything looked peaceful, but something big was about to happen. One morning, two well-dressed messengers arrived in the village, riding tall horses with golden reins. They carried a scroll sealed with the royal mark of King Kansa of Mathura. The villagers gathered around as the letter was read aloud. It said, "To Krishna and Balarama, you are invited to the grand wrestling festival in Mathura. The king wishes to honor your strength before the people. Come and be welcomed into the great city." Krishna's mother, Yashoda, felt her heart grow heavy. She looked at Krishna, her darling boy who once held butter in his tiny hands, and smiled with mischief. "You must not go," she said softly. "The city is dangerous, and Kansa, he is cruel." Krishna gently held her hands. His eyes, deep and kind, held no fear. "Mother," he said, "this is what I was born for, trust me. Everything will be all right." And so, at dawn the next day, Krishna and Balarama set off for Mathura. They walked through fields and forests, past rivers and hills. The sun followed them, as if it too was excited to see what would happen. Birds flew beside them. Even the wind seemed to hum a tune. Along the way, they stopped to rest at the edge of a forest. Balarama, strong and brave, picked fruits for them. Krishna played a soft tune on his flute, and the animals gathered around, listening in peace. That night, they slept under the stars. "Tomorrow we reach Mathura," Krishna said with a smile. "Tomorrow the chains will break." As they entered Mathura the next day, the guards at the gates tried to stop them until they saw Krishna's glowing face. A strange warmth filled the air. People began to whisper, "Is this the boy from Gokul? He looks like a prince. They say he tamed monsters." Word spread like fire. The streets began to fill. Men, women, and children ran to see Krishna and Balarama. They saw Krishna's dark, glowing skin, his peacock feather, his flute tucked at his waist. Balarama stood tall beside him, like a mountain of strength. From their windows, girls threw flower petals. Shopkeepers left their stalls just to catch a glimpse. Even the cows walked calmly behind them, as if guided by magic. Kansa had heard that Krishna had entered the city. His eyes narrowed. "Fools," he shouted to his guards, "release Kuvalayapita, the royal elephant. Crush the boys before they reach the palace." Kuvalayapita was no ordinary elephant. It was huge, armored in gold and trained to destroy. Its roar echoed through the city as it stomped into the street. The people screamed and scattered. Krishna and Balarama stood still. The elephant charged, but Krishna, he didn't move. He waited until Kuvalayapita came close, and then, in a flash, he ran under it, leapt up, and grabbed its trunk. With the strength of 100 men, he twisted the trunk and brought the beast down. The crowd gasped. The elephant let out one last cry and fell, defeated. Krishna and Balarama continued walking as if nothing had happened. The great arena of Mathura was filled with thousands of people. The walls were tall, decorated with banners and drums. Musicians played loudly, trumpets blasted. The royal throne stood high above the crowd, and there, draped in dark robes and gold, sat King Kansa. He looked down at the crowd, but his eyes only searched for one face. And then, he saw him, Krishna. He looked calm and confident. "This ends today," Kansa whispered to himself, "no matter what it takes." He signaled his two greatest wrestlers, Chanura and Mushtika, giants, with muscles like mountains and voices like thunder. "Crush them," Kansa ordered. The drums stopped. Silence fell. The two giant wrestlers stepped into the arena, grinning wickedly. "You're just village boys," one of them growled. "Go home before you get hurt." But Krishna smiled. "We only came here to dance," he said. "Let us see if you can keep up." And the match began. The crowd roared. Krishna spun, leapt, dodged. Balarama struck like lightning. They moved like wind and water, fast, graceful, unstoppable. Chanura raised his fist and charged, but Krishna jumped high, flipped over his head, and landed softly behind him. One push, and the giant fell. Mushtika tried to grab Balarama, but the elder brother wrestled him to the ground in one smooth motion. The people of Mathura stood up, their hearts pounding. The impossible had happened. The wrestlers were defeated. And then, Krishna turned to face the throne. And so, under the watchful eyes of thousands, Krishna and Balarama stood tall in the arena. The evil King Kansa watched in fear from his high throne, and the crowd held its breath. The monstrous elephant was defeated. The mighty wrestlers had fallen. And now, Krishna was walking, slowly, surely, toward the throne. His calm footsteps echoed louder than all the music in the world. But just before the final moment, we pause, because the next part of Krishna's story is one of great courage, deep truth, and the end of a dark chapter. That tale we will save for next time. For now, rest your eyes and dream of a world where good always finds its way, where a boy with a flute and a peacock feather carries the light of the universe in his heart. Sleep peacefully, dear one. Krishna's story will wait for you. Good night.